It's a real pleasure and honor to be here and speaking to you and sharing with you my ideas. I just got off a flight, the red-eye flight from Guangzhou in China. It's not so far, but it's a red-eye flight. So my talk today is entitled, How to Conduct a Concerto for Change. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to conduct. Rather, I'm telling myself exactly what I'm going to do and the steps I need to achieve my vision. Just very briefly, are there photos of me? Just in case, for those of you who don't know what I do, I'm a conductor. And usually when people ask me what do I conduct, I sometimes, in a fit of humor, I will say mostly trains and buses. But in reality, I conduct symphony orchestras. Now, these are huge dinosaurs of 100 or 120 people playing different instruments, starting from violins to tubas to percussion instruments. And I do this everywhere in the world. I've been doing this for the past 15 years. If you're Singaporean, if you live in Singapore, and if you listen to music, you would probably have been to one of my concerts. And if you are a collector of CDs, of classical music albums, you might have come across some of my albums as well. However, I'm here to talk about a different thing, a different subject. Not so much about my conducting activities, but about how I am going to, no, that's too ambitious, how I plan to change the world with music. Now, look, I'm not the first person to come up with such an arrogant statement, no. And I won't be the last, okay, I assure you. But I find that in my years of conducting professionally, of music making professionally, none of the people in my industry focus on anything outside of our musical work. Maybe that's normal. I guess that's normal. If you're in finance, you don't really care about what happens in the medical field, unless, of course, your portfolio in your financial work involves people or projects in the medical field. Okay, I understand that. However, as a musician, and I've trained professionally. I studied in Russia for 6 years. Prior to that, I was in Austria for 2 years, and then I spent 2 years in the United States for my master's. So I've been everywhere. I conduct everywhere. I've lived everywhere. And I know almost everybody in my business, and I can tell you that classical musicians are a strange breed. So why do I say that? We spend all our lives practicing our instruments. We spend 8 hours every day from the time we were born, well, almost, practicing our instruments. That's a good thing, right? It's discipline. It also ensures that you have a long-term vision, that you intend to perfect your skills, you hone your talents until a ripe old age when you can step on stage and make no mistake. It's like being an acrobat or a full-time athlete, where every twitch of a muscle will gain a different result. And being a professional musician is exactly the same thing. So we spend 8 hours every day, almost from the time we were born, practicing our instruments. So we don't really know what happens around us. We don't know what's happening probably in the field of politics, except the great wars or whatever's happening in Russia, Ukraine, etc., etc. The big news, yeah, we know. But we know just this much. Forget about financial subjects, forget about, yeah, health-related matters. We're not interested in any of that, but I am. So I decided when COVID started that I was going to do something about myself. So that was my first step, my very first step in conducting my own Concerto for Change. But there is a greater reason behind this. Now, as a child, my passions were not musical or anything music related. I was, and I still am, very fond of wildlife, of animals, and of nature, and of this planet that we live on. I'm not a tree hugger, okay, I must assure you, I'm not. But I do see the amount of damage that all of us are doing in our pursuit for wealth, in our pursuit for happiness, and in our pursuit for very short-term gains. And it hurts me because I find that as human beings, we are not very aware of the little things that we do to the other inhabitants of this planet, be they flora or fauna. And it affects me every minute of my waking life, and even professionally. So as a musician, what I do is I travel around the world to perform. And my schedule is booked 2-3 years in advance. So I began this talk by mentioning that I just got off a plane. I'm currently in the middle of a tour with my symphony orchestra. I'm the artistic director of the Sichuan Symphony Orchestra, one of the best symphony orchestras in China. And we are touring the Guangdong region. I just did 5 concerts. I had one last night. And I'm having one tomorrow. Thankfully, today's an off day. So I was able to take the red-eye flight, arrive here, speak to all of you, and then I got to scoot again. So in my line of work, what I've been doing for the past 15 years is my manager in London receives calls, and they say, okay, we want Darrell to come there with our orchestra to perform this program, and this happens, this is a weekly activity. So pre-COVID, my schedule would be very insane. A good example would be, say, week 1, I would be performing in Singapore. Week 2, I would fly to Austria, Vienna, to conduct a concert. Week 3, I would be in Mexico City, and you know how far that is from Austria, Vienna. Then week 4, I would have to fly to Melbourne, Australia. So I would circumvent the whole globe in just 1 month. That would be my typical schedule. And I somehow, after doing all of that for so many years, I start to ask myself, I question, why do I do this? I'm far away from family. I don't get to spend enough time, sufficient time with the people I love, with the things that I really want to do. Sure, I love my job. It's not a job, it's a passion. It's like being a priest, right? You get a calling, you do it, and you don't question. You never do. So that's me and my work. Until recently, because I find that it gets meaningless when there is no real purpose attached to it other than one's career. And I began to realize that this doesn't fulfill me. Because what I really want to do is to use my music to speak to people, to use my music to tell people that we are all here for a very specific purpose, a special purpose. And of course, we have our responsibilities, and first and foremost, our responsibilities toward each other are to, for example, work with each other to cultivate strong ties and relationships with each other. Above all, to protect the planet that we live on and the inhabitants around us, the animals, the plants, the nature that do not have a voice. We have voices. People, we have voices. In fact, we are very loud. And the louder we are, the more we want. But the other living things around us, the trees, the mountains, the waterfalls, the birds, the lions in the African grasslands, the antelopes, the polar bears, they have no voices. Nobody can hear them. Nobody understands them. Nobody can see that they're suffering. And what I really wanted to do was to use my talents for that purpose. And so I decided during COVID was a great time for me. I don't know about you. I hope none of you suffered very much. But for me, I came to realize many things. I came first of all to get in very close touch with my principles and with my real true desires, with what I really wanted to do with myself. And therefore, COVID was the beginning of my concerto for change. So I have been on this journey since then to improve myself. I took 2 MBAs during COVID, and I started several businesses. None of them really survived, but that's my entrepreneurial journey. I still do conduct. I told you I just got off a plane from a concert, but I have a greater plan, a greater vision, and I'm hoping to include as many people around the world as possible, starting with all of you. It's easy for me to sit down here and say, okay, guys, we have a mission, we have to save this planet. Yeah, okay, everybody says that. Yeah, the big petroleum companies say that too. But what do we really do? I think what really matters is that this knowledge of what we have to do in order to keep ourselves going, this planet going, the environment and nature surviving starts with every single one of us. Now, if you're a business owner, small, medium, or large, or if you are a politician, or if you dabble in something else, I would urge you to first and foremost think about the future, because without caring for the planet, without caring for the other inhabitants of this wonderful and beautiful earth, there is no future for us. Now, I'm a wine lover, I'm a coffee lover, I don't know if you are, but I can assure you, being a wine lover, the vintages that are coming out nowadays are not so good. They're not as good as before. Same with coffee, same with cocoa. I love chocolate. Now, if we don't do anything to prevent what is happening, climate change, climate crisis. Have you been reading about turbulence in the air? I don't know if that's related to climate change. I don't know. The news and media want us to think so, but I don't listen to news and media. It could be related. Everything that we do has an effect on everything else around us. And I would urge all of you, since I have the pleasure of meeting you today, to, in future, support me in my mission to improve or to inform the greater world around us that this is something that we should care for. Nature, the environment, wildlife. This is what we should be fighting for. Yes, I think we can also be successful in doing all that while in pursuit of wealth, while in pursuit of greater comfort. But I think if we were to get our priorities straight, the twain can meet. We can have both worlds. And I hope I hope it starts with all of us, and I definitely would like to conduct this concerto for change. And in future, in a very, very near future, perhaps tomorrow, I will be using music, my music, to lead this change. And I'm so happy to share this with you because you're the first people to hear it. Thank you very much.